They're anxious.
What's that?
They're ready to go.
I know, it's great. Welcome. It is June and there's a lot of people at New Tech. I'm really pumped about this. My name is Brian Kelly. I've been helping host this since late last year, and I want to welcome you all to New Tech. Thanks so much for coming out. Who is a first-timer tonight? Wow, it's relentless. Yeah, every month there's still about 50% or more people that are new. So thank you, new folks, for coming out and checking us out. And thanks everybody who continues to come back every month. For those who don't know, this has been going on since 2009, if you can believe it, 7 years. That's over 3 years since I even moved to town. So over 100 meetups, over 300 companies have pitched, and we almost have 5,000 members on the mailing list. So over 200 RSVP tonight. So thanks so much for being part of this community. Yeah, as I mentioned, like even New Tech was part of what even convinced me that Ann Arbor was somewhere worth moving to when I was considering it back in 2011, 2012. I remember checking in and saying, all right, if there's this meetup group and over 1,000 people are on it and they seem to be meeting every month, there must be something more going on than the one startup I was looking at the time, Duo Security. The reason this got started is whether you're an entrepreneur or you're a software developer or you're an investor, it's great that we're all here in Ann Arbor. We don't always have the opportunity to get together in the same physical space. So this is that opportunity every month, third Tuesday of every month. If you do nothing else tonight other than enjoy the pitches, make sure that you meet somebody interesting here. It's a really great cross-section of people that are in Ann Arbor in Southeast Michigan. I wanted to give an extended shout out to all the people that are involved with this. You normally hear me reference the U of M Law School Entrepreneurship Clinic and Bryce. Thank you for the space every month. As well as A2 Geeks, which is a nonprofit dedicated to making Southeast Michigan and Ann Arbor a great place for geeks and creatives to live, work, and play. A2 Geeks helps pay the bills for the meetup and such every month, and hosts a number of other events like Coffee House Coders. But some of the folks you don't hear about are my other co-organizers. I don't do this all by myself. I do help curate the speakers every month and show up here and introduce them. But special shout out to Scott Goshi. Scott runs an event every other week from this called A2 Brew Tech, which is basically your happy hour to go out to and see some of these same people. Roger down here in front, Roger Rail, and his company R2 Vive. Hey, Roger, how long have you been live streaming this for us? I mean, since 4 years?
About 7 minutes.
7 minutes, yes. Roger's a precise man. Roger's been doing this on his own time for quite some time. So if you go onto YouTube and you search A2 New Tech, you can see recordings from years past. Great to share if you're a presenter or to share with somebody else that you're trying to convince to come out. Zach Steinler, Zach in here. It's all Zach's friends here. Zach's not here. Zach did what I'm doing here for several years. So big thanks to him and everything he's done over the years. David Bloom has been another helper here in both helping organize and host. And finally, Doug, who I don't see, but I'm sure we'll be wandering here at some point. Doug Song, this was sort of his original brainchild, and just wanted to give a shout out to everybody involved. So thanks a lot. So, what else we got to cover here? So, if you don't know the format, it's 5 companies, each pitch for 5 minutes, and then 5 minutes Q&A. We talked about changing that format, but it just works so darn well that we're going to keep doing it. Everyone seems to like it, and you can boil your pitch down to that. It's going to be interesting to just about anybody. We'll do all 5 companies. If you know somebody for a future event, organizers at a2newtech.org is the place to contact me and the others. We'll run until about 8 o'clock tonight, just a little after 6:30 right now, and we'll head over to Dominic's afterward, just 2 blocks down that way. And we'll have time for community announcements after the pitch and Q&A. So right around 7:30ish, if you have an event you want to talk about, if you're hiring, if you're looking for a job, it's all welcome. We'll make a line and people will be able to announce out to the group. My own little thing I like to throw in each month is a recommendation for a podcast. My recommendation this month is called Kevin on SaaS, or Software as a Service. This one just started in May. Kevin DeWalt is kind of like one of these lean startup disciples. Somebody I met years ago when I was living in DC, and he just kicked this off. It's like his alternative to blogging, and he just reviewed the book Scaling Lean by Ash Maurya. It's very good. I'll post a link to it on the hashtag that we use for this event, which is A2NewTech. So take a look for that. This month, as you probably saw in the meetup group, we're focused on health companies. How awesome that we have 5 companies dedicated to health, whether it's behavior or a device to wear to convince yourself to do more. Every company participating tonight has a health type pitch, and it happens to coincide with A2 Health Hacks, which is a community-run, first time ever in Ann Arbor hackathon that's going to start this Friday at 6 and runs all weekend. So go to a2healthhacks.org to learn more. All right, I think that's all the administrative things out of the way. And now we're going to get on to our first speaker. Robert Dick from Stryd is going to tell us about his company, Stryd, that makes the first wearable power meter for runners, allowing them to measure and control their intensity, their training intensity, and running economy. And he's going to kick it off with a video.
We are runners. We all have goals and aspirations. I run for the enjoyment and to forget my worries. I run a simple, efficient, and healthy way to train. Power is the best objective measure of performance, and Stryd measures power. It is a game changer for my running. So today, I'm working on my intervals.
Good morning, Gus. Let's start interval training. Let's do 350 watts. Keep it for 10 more seconds. 10, 9, 8.
It helps me run faster with less effort.
Now let's work on form. Keep the pace, relax your shoulder, lean forward, and quicken your steps. Power dropped by 20 watts. Much more efficient.
Running is about getting dirty. From sunrise to sunset, it brings the world to me. I can perfect my pace without the risk of injury.
Hi, Gus. Looks like you're hitting a hill. Slow down a bit. Bring your power down to the zone. Great job. Just relax. Enjoy your evening, Gus.
This little device will change the way 500 million athletes train. Stryd quantifies the holy grail of athletic training, power. I'm Robert Dick, CEO of Stryd. Stryd measures and quantifies the 3 critical elements of athletic training, and power is behind all of them. These are training intensity, technique, and nutrition. Stryd measures training intensity. Controlling training intensity is crucial to improve performance. Stryd measures technique. Improve your technique, and you can go farther and faster with the same effort. Stryd measures calories burned, so you can eat the right amount to stay in the game. Power's been used extensively in cycling, where it commonly improves performance by enough to go from last place in the Tour de France to winning. But it's been constrained to cycling. Measuring power on the bike, a rigid machine, is easy, but measuring on the flexible and unpredictable human body is brutally hard. Stryd has created a patent-pending technology that measures the complex 3D motion patterns of the human body. It knows when you're speeding up and when you're slowing down, when you're landing on your toes or your heels, uphill, downhill, and more. Stryd knows your body's angle, speed, and motion patterns so it can determine the power it's producing. From there, the data flow to our smartphone and web apps. And Stryd is compatible with Garmin, Sunto, and Polar sports watches, and Strava and Training Peaks training platforms. All these pieces fit together to create the complete Stryd training system. We launched a Kickstarter campaign to recruit 1,000 leaders in power-based training. We reached our goal in 10 days and sold out with $250,000 in sales. And those first users have combined with our later customers to form an active community of thousands of Stryd users that's welcoming and engaging. At $199 retail price, we can work comfortably with our multiple international distributors and retailers. And we also sell it through our online store. There's already a proven business case for Stryd. Last year, cyclists spent $100 million on power meters for their bikes, and there are only 50 million cyclists. By moving power from the bike to the body, Stryd will reach the 500 million athletes in other sports. We're starting from runners, and in particular triathletes. They already know power from their bikes, and they want it for running. From there, we'll help the running enthusiasts, and there are tens of millions of those. Now, think of all the other sports that involve running. They'll be Stryd customers too. How do we accomplish so much in so little time? Our team combines expertise in embedded systems design technology, in marketing, and in exercise physiology. Our president, Li Shang, was chief architect at the Intel Embedded Systems Research Lab. Melanie Mitchell is a marketing professional who built her own triathlon sports brand from scratch. And my technology was commercialized, has been sold to millions, and won the Computer World Horizon Award. And the rest of the Stryd team is obsessed with bringing power-based training to every athlete. Our advisors include 3-time Ironman world champion Craig Alexander and triathlon and running coach Bobby McGee, who's an Olympic athlete, won the gold medal. Power revolutionized cycling, and Stryd is bringing the revolution from the bike to the rest of the world's 500 million athletes.
Terrific pitch. I'm going to take questions. So if you have a question, just stand up so it's easy to see and project your voice. Who would like to go first? This gentleman.
Are you the only one doing this?
There are a few competitors. Arcam Squared is one, and they have an insole-based device that used to be for bikes and including form, and became a power meter as soon as our Kickstarter campaign launched. I encourage you to try it out.
When I was younger, I used to race mountain bikes, so that the meter on the bike to tell me how fast I was going or what intensity I had was actually really nice to have. So I'm really excited about this. But what is a watt? Is it actually measuring like a watt of electricity, or
it's
what is
mechanical
it?
Power. So it's really the power output of your body, and power is something fundamental. So if you know your power, you can figure out how active your cardiovascular system is, how actively you're converting the chemical energy inside your body into mechanical energy. So power really gets to the core of what your body's input is, what you're doing. It's a very accurate and consistent way to track training intensity, and controlling that's really important if you want to get good training results. Yes.
Are you going to open up the data to other apps to use, or do you have any plans for APIs?
We don't have plans for that right now. It is accessible to the users, the actual customers, but frankly, we're not at the stage where we're big enough that we have a lot of other companies contacting us yet. But that's something we may do in the future.
To the back.
So, is it dependent on the external temperature conditions? Because when I run, my body intensity depends on the pressure, how much I keep, and also the environmental conditions. If it's too cold, like I have to keep more pressure to just inhale correctly and exhale correctly. So does it gonna read measure the body intensity according to the external temperatures?
I'm not sure I fully understood that question, but unlike, for example, heart rate, it will give a consistent measure of your intensity regardless of the external temperature. So It's not something where you see inconsistencies in power because of increase in blood flow to peripheral capillaries or peripheral blood vessels. It's actually measuring the power that your muscles are generating and causing your body to move with.
Thank you.
Yes.
Is there anything unique in the hardware itself, or could you get the same information? You know, is the uniqueness just your algorithm and software? Is there something unique in that hardware that you're measuring that none of the other hardware devices are measuring?
I am not aware of anyone else claiming they can do power that's using the hardware solution like we are. And there are some fancy things we're doing in the hardware, but a lot of it is algorithms.
But is that derived from accelerometer, gyroscope, you know, that sort of stuff, or is there something
in the
unique
core of
in
this, there's inertial measurement units.
Okay.
But if you look at off-the-shelf inertial measurement units used by physiologists, those things will have a battery life of a couple of days, and we get 6 months on a CR2032. So we understand, so the people on the team have been doing embedded systems design for a long time, and we can milk a lot out of hardware. And there are also a few tricks that we played with sensors that I don't think other people are looking at, but some of those are trade secrets.
Can you tell us a little bit about the manufacturing process and how you guys have scaled and how your manufacturing process has scaled while you guys have been selling more units?
We have direct connections with multiple manufacturers for different parts of the system, and we've already been producing in scale. So producing in scale is no problem. We already service the Kickstarter supporters, and we're selling daily. So the manufacturing parts.
One more question.
So I realize your target is eventually 500 million athletes, but who's your target now? Where do you see your most growth coming initially?
The cheapest customers to market to are the triathletes because they already understand why they need power because they're using it on their bikes. If you go to like Kona Ironman, half of the bikes have power meters on them, but those cost $1,200, and we're selling this for $200. So we got a pretty high conversion rate for those. From there, we're going to go to running enthusiasts, people who compete sometimes, they want to get better, they're interested in the performance, and from there we'll branch out to other runners and other sports.
All right, Robert will be hanging around. Sorry, that's all I have time for questions. Thanks so much. So next up we have Ferris, who is the co-founder and CEO of MySwimPro. MySwimPro is part of the second cohort from the Desai Accelerator, which is a local accelerator here in Ann Arbor, if you didn't know about it. Kelly might be somewhere in the audience and be willing to speak with you about it. It's really terrific that we have this in town, and we're hoping actually in August to do all Desai companies here at Newton. MySwimPro creates a personalized mobile swim training experience that is accessible to a global community of swimmers. And I'll let you take it away first.
This is the... Let me go back to the start.
I'd like everyone to close your eyes. Go ahead, close your eyes, and imagine you're in the pool, swimming some laps. Now open your eyes. We are MySwimPro, the #1 ranked app for swimmers in the App Store today. We've developed a mobile application that delivers personalized swim training and tracking that helps athletes achieve their goals. So you might be thinking to yourself, why swimming? Why now? Our founding team combines Olympic swimming experience and extensive mobile app development. The health and fitness industry is booming, and in just the last few years, we've seen the leading mobile fitness apps partner with the largest sports brands in the world. Our team is determined to emerge as the fitness application for swimmers. Now, the biggest challenge facing our sport today is access to structured training and coaching. As a coach, I've seen firsthand the limited resources available to the over 10 million people who swim for fitness right here in the US. But the problem extends well beyond our borders. And globally, there are over 100 million swimmers around the world who don't have access to work with a coach or the opportunity to reach their full potential. You see, we all have different goals. Some train to lose weight, while others are training to compete. But regardless of the goal, achieving your goals is a real challenge. And that's exactly why we created MySwimPro. Our mobile application delivers personalized workouts, instructional video content, and detailed analytics so swimmers can track their progress and measure their improvement. But we're more than just a workout application. We're helping transform people's lives. From helping people lose weight to crossing the finish line at their very first triathlon, the success stories that have come out of our community are truly remarkable. We believe that every athlete is one day away from their gold medal moment. We've designed our subscription-based business model after the leading fitness apps in the category that see a free to paid conversion rate of 2%. We launched Premium 2 months ago, and we're already seeing conversion rates above the industry average. For a monthly fee of $10, our premium swimmers unlock advanced workout content and analytics. We went live on iPhone and Android last year, and at our current month-over-month growth rate, the swimmers are on our platform are on pace to log over 10 million miles by the end of this year. We have over 50,000 followers across social media, and we're looked at as thought leaders within the sport. And we've been able to do all of this because of the value proposition we deliver and the loyalty of our community. So today, we're working on partnerships with the largest sports organizations within swimming and wearable makers in the industry. The 3 organizations I have listed on the slide behind me represent hundreds of thousands of the most diehard and competitive swimmers on the planet. We've already started relationships with these organizations, and we'll look to them to evangelize our brand within the community. We're currently part of the University of Michigan Desai Accelerator just down the road, and our recent graduates of Techstars Startup Next. I'd like to tell you guys it's been a thrill to present here today, and I'd love to speak with you after how our team is empowering aquatic prowess across the globe. Thank you.
Outstanding. Who's got some questions for Paris? Fire away and project. So over here.
Is there any hardware paired with this app? What are you measuring and how are you measuring it?
Yeah, so the real value proposition is the actual workout content. So everything that happens before you even go to the pool. So you might have a goal, and we help you achieve that goal with your workout plan. So secondary to that is the actual tracking component, which is still important. Right now, everything that's being tracked derives from the workout content that we're providing, or the athlete is creating themselves on the platform. Some of the things I mentioned with regard to wearable partners, so like Garmin, for example, is something we'll pair with. But the real value here is not necessarily like, oh, I swam 3,000 laps, that's cool, or 3,000 yards. That's cool. It's really like, what is your goal and how do we help you achieve your goal through that workout plan?
How many paid monthly members do you need to make your basic cost? And not forget about what you develop, but just monthly cost.
Yeah, so if we were to get hard into the numbers, we're looking at a few $100,000 on the free platform so that we can break even with a moderately low burn rate that is considered here in Southeast Michigan startup. So that's one thing.
Middle of the back.
So do you have any intellectual property, and what stops someone else from creating a similar offering?
Yeah, a lot of the value is really in the product that we've already created and the brand we're starting to build associated to it. I have no question in my mind that a group of talented developers could go and replicate our app. One thing that we have as an advantage right now is the fact that we're ranked #1 because the product is so compelling. So, and we're already on a growth trajectory, so for someone to come in, it would really be a significant entity within the space, and for them, they're more likely to acquire the value that we've already created than to do it themselves.
How are you monetizing your free users?
So we're freemium. So for free, you can use the app forever, and it has certain content and functionality. And for a monthly fee of $10, you unlock advanced workout content and more detailed analytics that you're not able to dig into if you're on the free version.
Okay, I was thinking you were monetizing them because you said you cover your costs over 300,000 free users. based upon his question. So you do have to have paid users. You don't generate any revenue from your free users.
So the free users are free. We're not touching them. We're not doing any advertising. The monetization happens for the paying customers who are on the premium platform.
Okay.
Another question?
So, what's the profile of your paying customers?
Yeah, so actually very similar to Stryd before. It's a very similar demographic. So these are people who are committed to the lifestyle of fitness in the sport. So these are people who they grew up swimming in summer league or high school or in college, but maybe they picked it up later. Regardless of their background, they're swimming 3 or 4 times a week for an hour. They're health conscious, middle-aged, a little bit younger actually. So the persona is a 32-year-old male, lives in Southern California, works out 3 times a week, makes 100K plus, and cares about improving.
Yeah. How do you integrate with like MyFitnessPal or MyFitnessPal, the other one?
Yeah, well, we don't integrate with MyFitnessPal, but some of those, we can't ignore the fact that people use fitness apps already to track other aspects of their health. MyFitnessPal is a good one for logging your nutrition and food, and that's one of the things we're working on right now is securing these integrations so that way you can use MySwimPro, it'll log into MyFitnessPal, and all of your calories will be adjusted accordingly.
What are your biggest challenges right now, and how are you trying to address them?
Yeah, that's good. A lot of challenges. The biggest one is really fine-tuning the product roadmap and meeting customer demand with the overall demands of the business. And that's a really hard balance because the community is sharing things that they want integrated. We have our own agenda of things that we've tested and know that we need to build. But then there are things that will support the business that aren't necessarily in line. And the challenge is trying to find a balance between what the target customer wants and building a product that has significant value, but then also what the business needs to actually exist in like a year or two.
Yeah, one more question, because you flew through your pitch.
So can you tell me a little bit more about the inspiration and motivation part? Because I think you said your audience is kind of the athletic person. Sorry, my English. So I assume that they actually have stronger motivation. It's actually me who can swim and trying to learn to swim and need a lot of motivation. So like what kind of methodology you use to motivate athletics?
Yeah, and that's one of the challenges. So we have the different customer segments, and we have the athletes who are really committed, they're intrinsically motivated, and then there are other people who want to get into swimming and they aspire to achieve a different level and they're from a different caliber. So that's a challenge that we have. The way we're addressing that right now is really just focusing on the core audience of people who are already self-motivated, because the adoption rate is much higher amongst them, similar to what Stryd with triathletes. The same thing for us. People who are motivated, they're already motivated to swim, they're going to use our app. But we definitely don't want to ignore the people who want to get into swimming. Our product is focused more on the person who already swims right now, though.
All right, thank you so much. All right, now we're going to switch gears from measuring your output for everyone who's not a triathlonist or a hardcore swimmer. Mark Katakowski from Forever Labs is going to tell us about how Forever Labs stores your youthful stem cells to be reintroduced later in life for the health benefits that they confer. So take it away, Mark.
Thank you. Yeah, first off, I'd like to thank Brian, Doug, and the organizers for giving me the opportunity to pitch you all. My name is Mark Katakowski. I'm the president of Forever Labs. We're based here in Ann Arbor. We are incorporated in Delaware, as you do. We've been operational since March, but we started putting this together about 14 months ago. So the problem we picked is a small one. We grow old. Unfortunately, we weren't meant to last forever. We weren't built to last forever, that is. And, you know, the one truism about life is that none of us is going to get out of here alive. That's a big problem, but we think there's a significant and compelling component of that problem that we actually can't address. And that's the stem cells that support the systems that regenerate and renew the systems of your body. A lot of them, most of them, actually decline in number and function over time. For instance, if you look at the blood of an individual, you'll find the circulating stem cells that replace their blood or their vasculature decrease in number over time as you increase in donor age. Also, if you look at their functionality, like you take the bone mesenchymal stem cells, the stem cells in your bone that can actually become bone-building cells, they decrease in their bone-building potential as donor age increases. So we lose this over time. So what's our solution? It's simple. Stem cell time travel. What we do is we take your stem cells now and we send them to the future for your future self when your stem cells have decreased in number and functionality. Unfortunately, 1.21 gigawatt power sources and DeLoreans don't scale, so we have a different approach. What we do is we take your stem cells out and we freeze them in a clinical grade biorepository in liquid nitrogen, which is about 196 centigrade, below 0 centigrade. And at that temperature, your cells are biologically inert. And at that time, you're talking about background radiation. It's really the environmental concern. So for your lifespan, they're pretty much inert and can be taken to the future. The cells that we're interested in storing, the ones that we store, are bone marrow stem cells. And there's many reasons for that, but the most important ones are there are a number of stem cells in your bone marrow, blood stem cells, and also the ones that we are most interested in at this point in time are the mesenchymal stem cells. They're often called MSCs. And the reason why is because I've been working with these cells for about 15 years at Henry Ford Hospital. I did my PhD work using them to treat stroke. And over the last decade, there's been an explosion in clinical interest and actual clinical trials using these cells for the treatments of everything from osteoarthritis, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, diabetes, stroke, heart disease, you name it. Within just the last 2 weeks, there was some reports from a clinical trial at Stanford, one that was using for stroke, another one in the report in the Lancet was using for MS, and both these trials actually had pretty good results. The results are coming out are fairly promising. And as I said, I've been working with these cells for 15 years, and our chief scientific officer, Ben Buller over there, him and I, we had an idea about 5 years ago. We proposed to the NIH, we said, hey, what if we take these cells from young mice and we transplant them to older mice who are genetically matched? How would they do? They do better with these younger cells, rejuvenate. And these are genetically matched, so they're their own, basically their own cells. And some groups have actually done this. The NIH said no, at least our study section said no. But about 5 groups have done this now in mice and rats, and found when they simply take the bone marrow stem cells from young rats, transplant them to older rats, those rats live significantly longer. So there is this enticing idea that maybe you could take your own cells and maybe you could actually use them to treat not just your diseased self, but your healthy self. So to realize our vision, we put together a team that includes an award-winning orthopedic surgeon, a couple of stem scientists, which includes myself, RN that specializes in clinical development, open a couple surgical centers, some people with expertise in business development, and of course a database and software developer. But we think this is only the beginning. There is what we think to be as a sea change in medicine. Science and technology is converging to create opportunities not only to treat unhealthy people, but to treat healthy people. And really our vision, our goal is to engage and build a relationship with those people that are most interested in these new opportunities. And I do have an ask, I have 2 asks. So you look like, this is a pretty young crowd. Your stem cells are not getting older, so if you're interested in storing, come talk to me, I'll be at Dominic's. And also, we are raising, so if you are an investor, come talk to me, I'll be at Dominic's. I'd love to talk about our business strategy, and I may do a little in the Q&A, but it's going to take a lot more than 5 minutes, so thanks.
All right. No one has any questions, right? Start up in the back.
My biggest question is, what's your first target? So the example with the mice basically shows you're talking about wealthy people who are elderly and think, hey, I'll just rejuvenate a little. But are there any particular diseases that you're thinking of?
So
who are you pitching to right now?
That's a really good question. So one thing we're doing right now, orthopedics are using these cells. So what they're doing right now is they're taking the bone marrow, they're concentrating them in something called platelet-rich plasma that actually contains the cells. And then they're often treating the site of surgery or in lieu of surgery to promote healing. And we are partnered with international company that builds orthopedic devices, including one of these devices that concentrates the cells. And we are, with them, reaching out to surgeons. We've got about 7 surgeons in Michigan. We're just opening in North Carolina. We'll be in the Bay Area next. And they are using the cells at the same time, giving their patients the option to bank them for later. So that would be like the first case. But our mission is to bank them, to save them, and wait for the clinical trials to get out. There's a lot of gray area, and we're not interested in some of these things like people have to go out of country and they get these kind of one-off boutique stem cell treatments. We really, really just want to give people the value of having their cells ready for when there's robust clinical evidence, which we think we're very confident there's going to be.
So, picking up on that issue, there is another FDA trial which says that if you just inject blood to arthritis instead of platelet, without enriching the platelets, it still may be equally effective. So along this thought, why not just say blood?
Okay, so your blood actually, it's talking about this quite a bit, actually. So the reason that your blood has this efficacy is largely influenced by the marrow itself. The marrow produces these things called exosomes, or microvasculars, and they change the profile of blood. You probably can get an acute effect from the blood. However, the blood is altered and the marrow itself is altered in a disease state. So there probably can be, but you might have to store quite a bit of blood if you want to do this.
Save young blood.
Save young blood, yes, yeah. And it's not a too crazy an idea.
So talk to me as like a customer or a patient. I heard I'm imagining needles and invasive surgeries, maybe 2 invasive surgeries when I'm older for a couple more years of life.
So it takes 15 minutes. The consensus is out of 10, discomfort level is about 3.5. My wife calls it 3.5. I call it 3.5. Our CEOs are with me, so it was 4. It's done under local anesthetic. You lay on your side, you lay down, you get it from your iliac crest right here. I had mine about 2 months ago. The whole thing, laying down, standing takes 15 minutes. The actual drop takes about 5 minutes. The discomfort is measured in seconds, and it's really like you have a cramp in your leg because of local anesthetic. So you just feel pressure, and you feel kind of cramping as it's held. And I'd rather do it than have a cabin full, really, than play hockey at night. So it's really
What about the second procedure when I'm older?
Well, that depends on what you're going to use them for. If for instance, some of the anesthesias are used for heart disease, so people have heart attack, they actually inject the cells around the infarcted area and they promote healing. Actually, these cells at MSCs can actually turn into cardiomyocytes, so they can actually replace tissue. So, that really depends on the procedure. We also store them in multiple aliquots too, with the intention that you might want more than one treatment. They don't have to be all thawed at once. You can also possibly expand them for treatment.
There's another question down here.
There's been a little bit of research with extracting MSCs from adipose tissue. I was wondering if you could just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so there are MSCs in adipose tissue. The reason why we're interested in the marrow is because there's also hematopoietic stem cells. And although the lab data for adipose looks pretty good, and adipose actually for some things, connective tissue might even be superior to MSCs. But when it comes to the clinical data, it's got a heavier leaning towards the bone marrow. And our own experience is that we think the bone marrow is a better source, especially because you have other cell types in there that can treat other diseases, blood diseases. So that's why. We also, actually, Ben did a nice article on our blog kind of tackling that issue, so it's worth reading.
Thank you.
Mark will be around afterward for more questions. Thank you again, Mark.
Yeah.
We're up in our sci-fi game here. here. Next up, I'm pleased to introduce Lisa McLaughlin. She's the co-founder and CEO of Workit Health. She's going to talk to us about the Workit program, which is a virtual clinic that stops or reduces a person's addictive behaviors in 90 days or less.
Hey everyone. I feel odd talking about this issue after all these human optimization companies. So Workit is a healthcare company focused on addiction and prevention, and our first product is really about reducing use, so meeting people where they're at. But the thesis of the company and the reason why we exist is because many of us live lives of quiet desperation and are often seduced by misery and trying to sort of move closer towards death and towards life. So someone has a problem like this and they're drinking and they're using and they've got this going on and they know what's going on. You know, this is something that happened to me. I got sober when I was 22 years old and I knew way before I was 22 years old that I was done, that it was over for me. Therapy, somebody has done something to intervene on their behalf and they're starting to reach out for help, but what they're doing isn't working. So where do we send them? What do they do? Pretty much universally we send them to AA. AA is very much a one-size-fits-all solution. It's a horse and buggy solution in an era of self-driving cars. It's a stage 4 solution. So it's on the wagon, off the wagon, quit alcohol and drugs for life. So we send you there if you're 18 and you get caught at a field party drinking, and we send you there if you've been using heroin for 30 years. So it's a little bit of an odd one-size-fits-all solution that we've relied on for a really long time. Rehabs rely on it, everyone relies on it. It's the first thing someone says when I talk about my company. The problem is that it has very, very low efficacy rates. So for those that it works for, like myself, within my community, it worked great for me. I did well, but I've spent the last 14 years of my life watching people, just their lives devastated by a mismatch between AA and their condition. And so really the reason why we started this company is because in 2014 I was working in Silicon Valley at a startup. I was working crazy hours in ed tech, and one of my best friends, who's somebody who got me sober, who had many more years of recovery than I did, died due to a set of complications associated with point of care related to the birth of her child. And this really hit me hard. I'm like, if I'm going to work this hard at a startup, I might as well work on one that's just killing my friends. This is ridiculous. But it's not just Aja who's really the person who got me working on this. The team that formed to create Workit Health has been just devastated by loss in our own families, across our communities. I got sober in Ann Arbor. My addiction happened mostly in Detroit. I have over 40 dead friends that are mostly under the age of 40 that I've lost in the time that I've been sober. So we basically came to a point of saying, enough is enough. What we're doing for addiction isn't working. What can we do instead? So I left my job at a Silicon Valley startup and started this company with Robin McIntosh, who's someone who I'd worked with in the Valley at a number of startups. She's an incredible front-end designer and developer. And she at the time was running a digital health marketing firm working with a lot of the top rock health companies that were delivering other solutions to the digital health space, but nobody was touching addiction. It was kind of a neglected space. So this is where we are so far. We've been bootstrapping for a year. We've put 300 users through the product. We have 5 employer pilots with large employers delivering this in a B2B setting, and we have really good efficacy rates. So 5% to 40% is a pretty big jump, and we're pretty proud of those outcomes. So our vision now is to start with a lightweight product, digital product, interactive exercises and coaching, but to build out to a more immersive solution, so full rehab at home, personal care. So over time we'll add devices and access to psychiatrists to the program. But it starts with this very lightweight application where you're confidentially and discreetly matched with a coach. Everyone that we've worked with has been very tied to this discretion piece. It's been a really important part of our efficacy. People work on the Hill, people are teachers. People do not want people to know that they are trying to recover from drug addiction. And we work primarily in the B2B setting. So we're delivering this solution to employers as a benefit through their wellness offices. People don't know that they're in there, so it's supposed to be completely discreet. And their advantage is that self-insured employers spend a ton of money on risky drinkers. They don't come to work, they come to work in bad shape, and they have to pay extravagant healthcare costs to support them. Same is true for healthcare insurers. So they've been very aligned with our mission. They also are double hit with these costs. And now that the Affordable Care Act and mental health parity have passed, They're much more concerned about people going to boutique rehabs in Minnesota than they were 5 years ago. So this has been our path to market. We've started with 4 pilots. Over the course of the year, we're building out to a larger payer pilot with bigger health insurance companies. And we're working with distribution channels to expand our sales force to get this out to a wider network of healthcare, of those seeking healthcare benefits. And over time, we're going to deliver a D2C version. Robin and myself started the company, but now there are 5 of us on the leadership team. We have a number of other interns and folks that work with us here in the Ann Arbor office, which is clinically and biz dev focused. And then in San Francisco, we have a product team. And we're backed by a team of advisors that know the space really well across the product side as well as biz dev. That's us. Thanks.
Questions?
Yeah.
You mentioned insurance companies as well as businesses that pay the premiums on their place. So with the insurance companies, how do you expect to sort of monetize? Would it be based on cost savings to them? How would you track it, or do you have, what have the conversations been so far?
Yeah, so we're in an accelerator that we were sponsored to join by Priority Health, where the discussion has been focused on being a hybrid service, so a claims-based event at the base. So what we do is the equivalent of motivational interviewing in the face-to-face setting. So there are existing CPT codes that you could bill to over time, but we're starting as a service with outcomes-based achievements sort of tied to it and moving to that claims-based event over time.
So you would do the billing in that case?
We would do the billing. We would be a provider in that.
How do you came up with a figure called 90 days? Why can't we do less than 90 days? Or why can't we do like more than 90 days?
So people can stay in the product for up to 2 years, but we did a number of pilots to see how long people would take getting through the existing curriculum that we created. And 90 days was about right. There's also a convention in recovery circles, 90 and 90 days is what you would do if you were going to AA, your first 90 days. And so there's kind of a culture around the first 3 months of recovery being an incredibly vulnerable period where you need extra support.
I have a follow-up question with that. So there is I might be wrong, there is a proven technique called, if you can keep on doing something for 21 days, it can become a habit. Like in the same way, if a drinker or like a drug addict can stop taking such a content for 21 days, why can't they stop the habit instead of 90 days?
Oh, because that's just not the way drug addiction works. So my friend who died had 7 years of recovery when she relapsed. So it's a sticky issue. It's very difficult to treat. So it's not a low-hanging fruit that we're going after here. It's definitely not a 21-day habit to break.
So Lisa, this is a great app. Thank you for doing this. But following on that point, if addiction is a physiological, psychological issue, why does this work?
Yeah, so basically a lot of interventions have been created that have not been well packaged for market that get at the behavioral aspects of addiction. So there are CBT techniques, there are dialectical behavioral techniques that for whatever reason have just been holed up in research centers at academic institutions and never been really well put together in a digestible format. And what works about this is these brief ecological interventions that we put people through and the motivational interviewing and coaching approach that we have. So the combination of those things have been well tested in trials to work, but it's just never been curated in a great way.
Okay, cool.
I'm interested in how the coaches work. So how do you select those people? What's the interaction with the user? How does that happen?
Yeah, so that's a big brand advantage to us. It's a benefit of being in recovery for almost 20 years across the team. We know a ton of people who went into social work. It's the first thing they did when they got sober, so we have a pretty massive network of LMSWs that are lights in their communities. A big part of what we do is try to find those people that already create a lot of recovery around them. But the training itself, the coaching is very agnostic to people's own personal experiences. So your coach really is your concierge to the content, but is not supposed to be giving you, like in the 70s, I did this, in the 80s, I did, they're supposed to stick very close to like reminding you what you said about yourself and reflecting back what your goals are. Because that's actually been what's found to work really well with people in these settings.
Are you prepared to scale this? I mean, there's some training involved here. So you're working with Priority Health and things work out nicely there. Let's say United Health comes out and says, we saw what you did at Priority, it looks really good. How do you get enough counselors and or people involved in this product to make it work for 100,000 people?
Well, we have a waiting list of 100 now in our affiliate network, and that's a pretty good start. I think it's going to be a challenge over time to make sure that we train people to the model, but what we've done to ensure that it's scalable is made the model really idiot-proof. So basically, people can come in and out of this role, coaches can be switched out, and the goal, the underlying ethos has to be there that you understand recovery and that you've been there, but it's very highly trainable. So you don't need specific people, but it's best to have really good people in the roles.
You mentioned through your presentation working with a whole range of addictive behavior. Do you have any people that have gone through the program that aren't suffering from substance abuse but cutting, chronic suicidal ideation, or anything of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, anybody who's been in a 12-step group knows that people are in more than one, typically, so comorbidities are a really big deal. We first focused on the ones that were most prevalent in our population, so eating disorders, gambling, relationships are really high up there. We've avoided technology addiction because we're a technology company. It just doesn't seem like the right place to start. But we have built out comorbidity content to support individuals, and that's one of our ways that we keep the content dynamic.
Do you have similar success rates with people of those disorders as well then?
It's really supplemental content right now, so it's too early to say.
Thank you.
All right. Sorry, that's all the time we have for questions. All right. We're ready for our final pitch of the evening. Pleased to welcome Dick Stryd. Dick is a professor of public health at the university here and founder of a company called Health Media. His latest project is called Jewel Health. Jewel Health is an Ann Arbor-based technology company with the mission of redefining wellness in employee, payer, and other settings. So, following right on another health effect.
Cool. Thanks a lot. Okay, so in 2015, Wired magazine asked me about the future of wellness companies, especially in corporate and insurer settings, and I said, you know what? Rather than fixating so much on longevity and the avoidance of death, many of us will reverse course and focus on life, specifically a self-transcending purpose in life, a purpose that is bigger than ourselves. I wrote this book that came out in May for HarperCollins called Life on Purpose, How Living for What Matters Most Changes Everything. I hope all of you run out to Literati this evening and buy 200 copies of it. But in this book, what we talk about, and I cite over 200 articles that show the purpose in life increases life expectancy. It reduces your risk of stroke by over 50%, reduces the risk of heart disease, of diabetes, of cocaine abuse. If you're in cocaine abuse treatment or alcoholic treatment and have a strong purpose in life, 6 months later you're half as likely to relapse if you have a strong purpose versus weak purpose. People with a strong purpose in life are 2.4 times less likely to develop Alzheimer's disease 7 years later. People with a strong purpose in life have better sex. Can we go home now? This is not too bad. In other words, if we could build a pill that was called Purpose in Life, and it actually enhanced your purpose in life, that could be a very big deal in our lives, especially in our lives and our society where we watch what the Kardashian sisters are doing more than what our neighbors and our partners are doing. My own purpose in life is to enjoy love and beauty, to be an engaged father, husband, and grandfather, to teach every student as if they're my own daughter and be an engaged leader, and then finally to help over 1 billion people find purpose in their lives. Big, hairy, audacious purpose, right? So every day I try to sleep well, I meditate every day. I don't allow myself an alcoholic beverage until I have meditated, so I am a great meditator. I also walk to work every day. I try to be creative every day, and I try to eat well. So in other words, I try to sleep, be present, be active, be creative, and eat well, and I give myself space, in other words, every single day. Rather than worrying about these things in order to avoid disease and death, which I really don't care about that much, I truly don't, I care a lot about having a purpose. And how do I get a purpose and align myself with purpose? I need energy and I need willpower. And so these things give me more energy and willpower. And quite honestly, if I have these things, then I can start controlling stress. I can control substance abuse. I can manage and prevent injuries. I can manage my own diseases. So welcome to Jewel. That's exactly what Jewel Health is designed to do. We assess what your purpose is. We concatenate this. You can dictate this into your smartphone if you want. If you want to know what other people's purposes are, you can get examples. It puts it all together. Then every single day, this takes 30 to 60 seconds, you can chart your day. How much energy did you have? How much willpower? How well did you sleep? How present? How active? How creative? How well have you been eating? And then, looking at your life purpose, every single day we ask, how closely aligned were you with that personal purpose, that work purpose that you have? Very often there's big misalignment in these things. So once you've done that, which takes, again, this process takes 30 to 60 seconds, we're able to give you feedback on how you are, what your life is on that day. You're able to get tips that are very significantly tailored to your needs. You're able to set goals that are specifically tailored to you. I want to focus on one particular thing, though, and that is what we call what makes you tick. When we look at all these environmental factors, these biometric factors, social factors, we put them all together, we can take your data around any of these factors and start building a model. It turns out that every single person is different, though, different strokes for different folks. So if we can do that, this allows every single person to understand what makes them tick. Also, we're able to look at an outlook for today for you. For me, this is my actual outlook today. I was able to say, well, what is my weather report of myself going to be? What's my energy and my willpower supposed to be? Well, I can say, you're supposed to have only medium willpower. Why, you stupid computer? Well, because you tend to have medium willpower when the average temperature is in the 70s, and it's supposed to be in the 70s today, and it was. Also, your physical activity, it wasn't so hot yesterday. Those things in my personal model, which we might call precision well-being. Compare that with precision medicine. It's the same exact thing that we're talking about. But I might then want to find out, well, what can I do about it? Looks at my personal model and says the number one thing that I can do is start sleeping better. I want a tip about that. I get a tip that's specifically tailored. The employer or insurer also is able to get essentially Jewel for their entire company. Thank you very much.
That's a mouthful. Action time. Who's first? In the middle. Yeah, in the back.
Since you got cut off, I'll let you finish. A theoretical employer at Dunder Mifflin.
I'm sorry, I can't quite hear.
For a theoretical employee at like Dunder Mifflin, in this case,
right?
How much information will the employer be able to see?
They will be able to see everything at an aggregated level, and that really is part and parcel of the ethics of this industry. So we would never share, nor did we at Health Media, individuals' data with the employer. The employer actually doesn't want to see that. But aggregated data, yes. It's very important to be able to understand your employees, to understand members of a HMO so that you can help them, and that's the idea. But really what's different about this is that this is not just aimed at helping the employer, it really is aimed at helping the employee and focusing on the quality of their life, rather than just getting them to quit smoking or lose weight or whatever.
Yeah. So, I guess, what's your marketing approach right now? Like, how are you working to capture users? Are you like going through the employers or individuals?
And we're a SaaS business-to-business model, and we are going after actually quite a broad spectrum of employers and insurers. We have a lot of interest, and we have some brand new customers. Truven is a brand new customer. They're just bought by IBM. Anthem is a new customer of ours. We're really excited about that. That's one of the top 3 in the health plans in the country. So we're after these larger employers and insurers, but at the same time, with this particular, what we call Jewel Vibe, we can just turn a switch and we can handle a company that has 100 people too. And we're really after that market because it's pretty ignored in the wellness space, and there are a lot more of those. Yeah.
How long do you expect the average user to spend on this app each day?
The app takes 30 to 60 seconds a day in terms of your self-report. If I want to connect to my Fitbit or 150 other biometric devices, that takes no time. And at the same time, since you have a smartphone using this, we're looking at over 20 different environmental factors, such as the weather types of factors, humidity, precipitation types of factors, economic, so gas prices, the job market in this area. Whether your sports team won or lost has a big influence on average, but maybe it doesn't matter to you, it matters to me. So after a while, this model is built. All of that is invisible, but all you do every single day is put in 30 to 60 seconds a day. Yes, Hop.
So how long does it really take for that model to
I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear.
Sorry. How long does it really take for that model to build up for that particular
10 days. 10 days. We spent 6 months studying this. We work closely with Booz Allen Hamilton. In fact, they own 15% of our company. They do predictive modeling for all sorts of different events, very complex events using very big data. And we tested actually 12 different predictive analytic models when we were looking at this. And the whole idea was, when can we use a personal model and explain more variance the next day in that individual's energy or willpower, and you're able to add in other things, even your golf score if you want, by the way. When can we explain more variance in a population model? And it turned out to be roughly 8 days. So different boxes open up. These boxes I've shown you rather quickly open up depending on how much data we have. It takes 15 days to open this weather report of you for the following day. Yeah. So we're moving from between person model, population model to within person model. Yes.
Do you have any connection with Landmark Forum?
Landmark Forum? No, not yet. But that would make a lot of sense. Question in the back.
How fast do people drop off?
We have, actually, if I could I show you this real quickly? Is that all right? Yeah. There are 1.6 million apps in the world. We are now, in terms of drop-off and looking at every single day of tracking, we're tracking in the top 160 apps in the world. So I want to be the Angry Birds of health.
I actually have a related question. So I've already downloaded it, or I'm starting to for myself, and I noticed that there's a like 12 plus icon next to it, and I've never noticed this before. That's like for what age group, right?
12 plus.
Yeah, you have a 12 plus. Like the kid app say, like in the App Store, it says that for ages 12 and up,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
So I really would like to know if you are building this for my 4-year-old.
Oh.
Because I would love to know if it was the weather that affected her.
Tomorrow I'm going to the Aspen Ideas Festival to speak there, and it's about kids and purpose. And that's a whole other subject of mine.
Yeah.
That's
So
big.
a serious piece of it, did you actually intend for it to be for young adults? Does it function as well for young adults as it does? Or do you think
I have another app called the Dung Beetle app for that, but also, yeah, we've had very young kids using that. This app really is for people 18 and older.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, all we have time for, but thank you so much.
Sure. Hope you all enjoyed these 5 pitches tonight. They were terrific. This has been one of my favorites in a while. Yeah, so now's the part of the event where if you have anything to announce, if you're hiring, if you're looking for a job, if you have another event that's local, line up down here in front and we'll give everyone an opportunity to make their announcement. All heard. Yeah, up into the right. Go ahead, kick it off. And I know what you're announcing.
Yes, you do. Brian knows what we're announcing because I'm Neelima and this is Diane. We're half of the organizing team for the A2 Health Hacks that Brian had talked about earlier. So first off, I want to say we started this as we had an intuition that Ann Arbor was a great place to do this, and this group and this community has proven that. And we have mentors, sponsors, volunteers, and organizers of that event here in this room today. So thank you to A2 New Tech and the community. And also, I'm hopeful. I think Diane will tell us a little bit about the event, but I'm hopeful that a year from now, when we do this again, I'm hoping that several of the ideas that come up next weekend when we do our hackathon will actually end up here, and that's personally our goal.
Yeah, so registration closes tomorrow. So if you have time this coming weekend, it's this coming weekend, sign up. It's going to be great. We have about 150 registrants so far. We start with a happy hour on Friday evening, 6 to 8. The event is free, but we want you to sign up so that we don't get too many people who just show up for free pizza. That's really, we want to know what skills you bring to a team. The event is going to be Saturday morning starting at 8 until Sunday afternoon at 3, runs through the night. If you cannot commit to an entire weekend, and I get that it's summer, you might have other plans, consider mentoring. We'd love to have you. So far, 150 registrants, about 40 mentors, but we can always have more great people, and there's a whole bunch of them in this room. So whether you're healthcare, tech, IT, business, we want you, either as a participant or as a mentor. And next year, maybe as a sponsor? Thanks. All right, thanks.
Hey everyone, I'm Kelsey Treview. I'm a designer at Farm Logs, and I'm actually not here for myself. I'm here on behalf of my friend and coworker Heidi Cron. She's actually the director of customer success for Farm Logs, and her and a team of awesome people from other places in town have been getting together every week. I see them meeting in our office, and they're running a conference called the Intermittent Conference. So she told me to read this. It's like a little pitch for you. All right, whether you're writing writing code or painting a picture, you're creating something. It can be hard to access creativity. We often need to be together and share our stories to help unleash creative inspiration. There's limitless potential for those who find the creativity within themselves, and Intermittent is a conference that aims to help in that journey. Find out more at Intermittent, so it's like inter, then mitten, like we're in the mitten, Michigan, .org. And so it's just a 2-day conference, and it's at the Arc. She didn't put the date. I think it's August, does anybody know? Do you know, Doug? I think it's August 4th and 5th. Yeah, it's like the first weekend in August. Thanks, Heidi, she didn't tell me. Tickets are only $99, and if you pay now, then you'll save some money and be an early bird and be awesome. So yeah, thanks.
Hi everyone, my name is Janelle Robinson. I'm with the Dispute Resolution Center. We're a local nonprofit, and we offer conflict resolution services. I was invited here to just let you all know if you have human issues. I know you all are very focused on tech, but if you have conflict amongst yourselves, I don't know if it could come up in the office, somebody ate somebody's sandwich or you might have a human issues, right? So there's a way to resolve that conflict and still but still maintain the relationship, because as you all are inventing and creating things, you're definitely going to come across that. So the Dispute Resolution Center offers conflict resolution, one-on-one mediation, as well as large groups facilitation. Also, we have training, conflict management, so that you can identify your own conflict style and your own baggage that you might bring to the table. So if you are interested in our services or learning more about us, you can visit our website, which is thedisputeresolutioncenter.org, or you can see me and get a card. Thank you.
My name is Ahmed.
And I'm Anna.
We operate Intel Patents here in Ann Arbor. We are a patent agency. We help people get patents. We mostly work with startups and solo inventors. A disclosure, like at this meetup or online, gives you a grace period for 1 year for which you're allowed to get a patent. After that, you're not allowed. So if you have an idea or gearing up to get your startup going, give it a talk. Come by. We'll be around.
Yeah, we have NDAs, so if you want to talk to us right now, let's do it, or you can make an appointment. We're going to be in the back over there. Thank you.
Hello everybody, name's Dan Davis, work with a local IT consultancy called Pillar Technology. We are hiring across the board. If you are in any need of anything across the board, let me know. Mostly devs, and also a new practice we're looking into, experienced architects and things based around experience. But that's actually what I want to talk to you guys about. I want to do a little poll tonight. Anybody heard of an open up event? No, good, because it doesn't exist yet. I want to create it. And I want you guys to help me figure out if it has merit. It's basically, who's heard of an unconference or an open spaces event, right? It's basically where you come together and throughout the day you plan out the event, right? Everybody pitches their ideas, and if there's a collective group that wants in on it, they come together and talk about it. So I want to get together and create in and around Ann Arbor, maybe Detroit, somewhere in between, basically this open up events system where we come together and we spend the day learning and growing from each other. First off, who would be interested? Raise your hands. Something you might want to come to? Cool. Secondarily, who would be willing to pay for it? Because that might help. That's the debate on sponsorship driven or people driven. So if you have any inclination to drive that out with me, let me know. Certainly willing to share the ideas and see if we can make this into something. So thanks everybody.
Just a couple of quick announcements. I run a couple groups here in Ann Arbor. One of them is the A2 BrewTech, which is kind of the sister organization to the A2 New Tech organization. 2 weeks from now, we'll be at a bar. So if you like socializing and you like beers and you like technology, come on out. It should be on the A2 New Tech page, just like the other ones. I'm trying to actually get a specific business that might be a great place to be at, but I haven't nailed that down yet. So you'll get those details soon. But look forward to that on the A2 New Tech page. Other than that, I also run a group called Coffee House Coders, so if you saw some of these startups and want to know how to build them, come to our group. Our next meetup is next Wednesday, and it's on A2 Coffee House Coders. And then finally, just a quick one, if you're hiring and we'd love to interview you, I run a startup with another friend of mine called True Job. We'd love to kind of hear more about how people hire and how the community of Ann Arbor is growing in startups. So talk to me if you want to hear about that. Otherwise, look forward to see you guys after the talks. So, thanks.
Hello everyone, my name is Stacey Matlin and I am co-founder of CART. We connect existing transportation infrastructure for grocery stores to get low income and low access individuals into their grocery stores to increase healthy food access. Right now, we're in the middle of this customer discovery phase where we're trying to figure out the technology that we're going to use for our extended pilot with Meyer at their 2 Detroit stores in the fall, and therefore we are looking for technical assistance. I don't have any CTO or really back-end developers, and I'm just seeking any sort of advice or anybody who'd be interested in possibly helping out or joining the team. So please let me know if you're interested. I'll be around here and after the happy hour.
Duo Security. I just want to offer one thing. I realize that there's a lot of folks that don't know about this website, but I think it could be really useful for a lot of folks. Do it at hackathon.com. That's a listing actually by Josh Walker. I don't know if Josh is here. Anyway, it's a listing of pretty much all the tech groups in town that are organizing events, a whole bunch of the meetups, something like 80 groups, 2 tech events every night, but it's maintained as a GitHub site, kind of like madeina2.com, which Sam is responsible for. And so if you have things to contribute and add to it, please check it out. But otherwise, if you're trying to make your way in the tech community, figure out what events are going on, user group meetups and all this kind of stuff, it's a good place to look. Thank you.
Since we're throwing websites up on here, I'll throw one up. So madeina2.com is a site that Sam, good folks at FarmLogs and others have put together. It's like a listing of all the companies in Arbor and tech. I'm throwing up another URL, which is the Slack for Madeina2. So if you want to join our Slack, we've got about 160, 170 people. It's a great way to connect with people here. You don't have to go find anyone's email. You just start chatting them up. So, but it's not a simple URL, so that's why you have to write it down. So it's Madeina2 Slack in Madeina2 Slack in dot, I told you it wasn't easy. Roku app.com. Yeah. See, it's like secret. It's like a passcode. Yeah. Or just hit me up or Sam or somebody else. But yeah, if that's too much effort to get onto it, you probably didn't really want to be there anyway. That's a wrap for tonight. Oh, a question down here?
You and everybody can post all this on Meetup.
Yeah. I gotta provide some way to make it a little harder to get in. Yeah, no, this stuff will float on the comments. Anyone that I made an announcement down here, feel free to add a comment. That goes out to most people who have registered. Our next event is going to be here next month. Again, if you know anyone that you know would want to pitch, or if you want to pitch, come find me or just email organizers@a2newtech.org. And that's a wrap. You can hang around here for like 15 minutes or so and then make your way over to Dominic's to continue the chat. Thanks, everyone.